Welcome back to episode 6 of the Leavine Family Racing Podcast. We are switching things up again this week. We are sitting inside a motor coach at the Daytona International Speedway infield. We are down here for Speed Weeks. This week, we're going to talk to Matt DiLiberto, who is a co-owner of Leavine Family Racing. He is also the Chief Financial Officer for SL Green Realty in New York City. This week, I will not be doing the interview. Jeremy Lange, the president of Leavine Family Racing, will be doing the interview. The main reason we're doing that is because I believe Matt has a fascinating story of how he came to be a part of this race team. And Jeremy was an instrumental part of making that happen. So I figured who better to tell the story than the men that made it happen. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the interview, and we'll see you soon.
Hey, Matt.
Hello, Jeremy.
Welcome to Daytona.
Thank you.
Was this year
be here.
5th Daytona for us with you?
Fifth Daytona.
Surprise! It's crazy, huh? Time flies.
It's pretty unbelievable. Every time I come down here, it's more exciting, but really unbelievable that it's been 5 years already.
We've come a long way.
We have come a
in
long
5
way.
years.
Yeah, that was the purpose, right?
Yeah, progression is the word we use, and I think the story of you being here, progressing from a sponsor to an owner, similar to Bob's starting as a sponsor to an owner of the race team. Yeah. I think it's definitely interesting, and it's hard to believe that we are where we are, and I can't believe that Tom kind of turned over the reins of the podcast to us for this episode.
Yeah, and
shocking.
Bob threatened me along the way to
do one.
Do a podcast. Yeah.
Well, they're not going to let me do one again after this, probably.
That's probably true. I stay mostly behind the scenes too.
Yeah,
so
I don't.
To be front and center with you is.
It's funny because everyone says like, "Oh my God, you're so California," and I always joke, it's like I have California, but I also got a lot of New York in me, which I think was the connection you and I had in our first conversation, right? I mean, I think we got that first connection. You were looking to be involved in the sport, and I got a call saying, "Hey, I got this guy from New York who wants to be a potential sponsor in a race team." I was like, "Yeah, I'll talk to this guy," and the guy set the call, and 5 minutes in, we heard the click of him bouncing off the conference call, and you and I think I spoke for 45 to 50 minutes then after.
Yeah.
And similar, went to both college in Pennsylvania, lived in the same apartment complex or area, took the same bus. You took the earlier bus because I was not in the financial industry, and I don't get up early in the morning. But just, it was a great connection. I think it was something that definitely, it's been a good relationship, you and I, and you and the team, and obviously the first year you came in as a sponsor and made it to one race, which is the best kind of sponsor we could have. And then obviously NASCAR changed the game and went to a charter system in 2016. And Bob and I came to you and asked if you wanted to come as an owner, and the rest is kind of history, right?
It's I get the question. So I'm based in New York, grew up in upstate New York, but work in Manhattan, live in northern Jersey, and the obvious question I get from people is, what is your tie to NASCAR? How are you a NASCAR owner in an area which is, pretty isolated when it comes to NASCAR? There's not a lot of fan base up there. Where I'm from, a lot of NASCAR fans. Grew up in the Syracuse, Utica area and had NASCAR in my blood, and eventually got to a point in my life and wanted to be a part of it, and that's when I started shopping around for some way to get involved. Figured sponsor was the natural beginning, and started talking to people and walk around the garage, spend time in the truck garage, spend time in the Xfinity garage, and then obviously in the Cup garage, and somehow got hooked in with you guys.
Stop you there for a second. What was the appeal to LFR at the time?
Well, so I talked to the
I know you were talking. You were talking to 3 or 4 teams at the time.
Yeah, the underpinnings of NASCAR is that it's full of good people, and so it's just about driving with the right group. And when I had our initial conversation, I remember that same phone call. There was a quick introduction, and then you and I were kind of off to the races. And
I think he got bored. I think he got bored. He didn't get a word in for the first 3 or 4 minutes, and he's like, "Click, I'm out." And
because it was much like you and I are doing this right now.
New York banter.
Yeah. So I remember before you and I got onto our little, side conversation about, the mutual connections and that type of thing. I remember explaining how Bob thought about the team and why he started the team, and it was about having fun, maintaining discipline, having good people around. I'm like, man, that sounds exactly like the organization I want to be a part of. And then we started down the path of, hey, both went to school in Pennsylvania. Turns out we lived down the street from each other, and somehow we have this very
Is it Decamp 33 or
the Decamp 30? The Decamp bus, into the Port Authority bus terminal. And you and I have,
Those are
for
the good
better or
old
for
days.
worse, the similar personality that seemed to click. It may drive.
It's probably for the worst for most.
May
Better
drive
for
my
us.
partner Bob a little nuts, and
It works.
It works. And that first year, that's so it was a part-time team. My first year sponsorship. I made it to all of one race, the Texas second Texas race.
Yep.
So.
And you rented a
3
condo
weeks to
below.
go.
You rented a condo below
Right
Bob
below
and Sharon's,
Bob.
or below.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And the next year, you said, I think there was a little bit of, boy, this guy likes to just spend money and may or may not want to be at the racetrack. Sounds like a good
Best kind of
race
owner
team
possible.
owner. But wanted to go full time, and I thought it was a great opportunity to come in with a team who had like-minded thoughts to me. I spent time with Bob at Texas, spent time with you, and I knew there was a progression that people wanted to make. You can come and perform at varying levels here, and I liked the growth that Bob had from his start to where we were in 2015 going into 2016, and where everybody wanted to take the team. And the progression from 16 now through 2020 has been, I think, exactly as we would have laid it out.
Yeah.
Every year, setting a new standard for performance, upgrading personnel, upgrading equipment. And I mean, we are right at the precipice of something great, and that's exactly why I wanted to get involved in this team. It's a lot of hard work. It's an expensive sport to be a part of, no question about it. It's a very tough business model, but we're surrounded by great people here in this organization, and the prospects for this year are phenomenal, and it gets me excited every day.
When you think about being an owner in the race in NASCAR, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What do you think about, like, what excites you about being an owner in NASCAR? What drew you to it?
So, I'm a competitor at the end of the day, and I think the competition here, what NASCAR has created is a very competitive racing model on the track now. The competition is very tight, and it's a game of inches and dollars and cents at the end of the day. But the competition, for every frustration you have in the sport, come back to the track, and the competition brings me right back to the reason that I'm here in the first place. That said, you want to do everything in your power to be better, to be the best ultimately, but it's a tough business model to work in. I think LFR has done a spectacular job in managing the revenue, expense, and performance side of the sport. It's the toughest thing to balance. By trade, right? I'm a CFO. I'm a financial-oriented guy. You come into NASCAR and you look at the financials, and it'll blow your mind. It's
Scares
not
you.
right. It's not a set of financials that go, ooh, that looks really
It's
enticing.
publicly stated that obviously race teams will want more revenue, and we're trying to find ways to do it. And sponsorship, our livelihood is based on sponsorship.
That's right. And performance drives sponsorship. It's a very circular model. And to get performance, you have to spend more. But the drive to be better, it's what motivates me. I know it's what motivates Bob. And you kind of look past the tough parts of the early stages of a team like this, in building the business model out the way we want to, and you go, hey, our ultimate goal is in reach, and I think we've done it the right way, so it's money well spent.
Yeah, I think I look at it, and it's, if we didn't want to get better and progress, we use that word a lot, and not to be corny, but it's a word we really believe in. I think we wouldn't have aligned ourselves with JGR and invested the time and resources and capital to get Christopher in our race car. And otherwise, we would have stayed part-time where we were when you first joined. I think the charter system definitely pushed Bob to expedite his plans in wanting to go full-time, which was always we talked about that, right? When we were part-time, we always wanted to get to full-time.
Yep.
But I think the charter probably pushed us 1 or 2 years ahead of where we wanted to do it. And the next question is always, are we going to do 2 cars? And my answer to that is, Bob gets that question a lot on Twitter, and he gets questions about on NASCAR radio and media. And, I think you and I have talked about it, and I've talked about it, Bob, and the three of us talked about it, where it's more or less 2 cars is always an option. We want to do 2 cars. I mean, I think there's economies of scales and do 2 cars. I mean, you get better. The next progression for us is obviously win a race and make the playoffs, but 2 cars is definitely there from a business model. But you can't do 2 cars until the first car is funded or
That's right.
taken care of, right?
And
I think
and competitive.
Yeah, and competitive.
Something we always talked about, right?
right, because there's
we had
difference
our
between
meetings.
funded and competitive.
And
Because we could be funded right now and be a lot less competitive.
That's right.
Fair?
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
fair.
so, but I think our goal as a race team is to be competitive and compete for wins and compete for the playoffs year in and year out, which cost money to do so.
Yeah, it's we talk about progression, right? I'm sure in every interview and every statement that we make, progression comes up. We have progressed, and every year when we meet to talk about the subsequent year, and that starts halfway through the current year, we want to be taking a step forward, and we want to be competitive. It's not just about the business model; it's about being competitive. And if the competitiveness fades, I think that takes a lot away from our motivation and the reason that we're here, which is to compete for wins and playoffs and progress forward every year. This year is no different, right? We have the best equipment and the best personnel and a really spectacular up and coming driver. Those are the ingredients. We hope to progress from where we were last year. Last year we had taken a step forward in equipment, and we had a great year with Matt. Matt progressed forward. We progressed forward.
We progressed as a team.
And we'll tell Christopher the same thing, right? We want to progress forward as we want him to progress forward. We want to, it's a mutually beneficial relationship here. And I think
while also manage expectations, because obviously
right.
he's a rookie in the Cup
That's right.
Series, and we saw it even last night in the race, in the duel. He did a great job racing, but you also I think a lot of drivers saw the rookie stripes and avoided and didn't want to help as much, right?
Yeah,
and
he's a rookie.
He's got to earn the stripes or earn the stripes off the car per se, but he's a rookie, and that's not his fault.
Yep.
Just it's the nature of the beast.
That's right.
But I think he's confident enough and he's talented enough to build those relationships with other guys. And I think the exciting part about me for the 500, which we'll see how it plays out on Sunday, is we got a shot. And I talked to Bob in the off season, and I think you and I have talked about it. I'm always excited to go in the race season, and this is just a different level of excitement than we've had in years past. Not out of lack of respect to the people who've driven our cars in the past, but just because we've committed to take that next step and invest in, like you said earlier, better equipment, which has helped us attract better people. And we pride ourselves on having a good culture at the race team. And that's important to me. What we have at the race team is the culture and the people we have that work for us, which help build the culture, right? And you said we're all competitive. We all want to win. And you can't go to the racetrack week in and week out and win without having that desire to win, right? And you talk to Wheels and you talk to Jason. To run 10th, you got to run 15th. To run 5th, you got to run 10th. To win, you got to run top 5. And then you got to put yourself in a situation for it to happen. And that's the part that's most exciting to me for this year is I think it's the first, we actually might have lightning in a bottle with Christopher, the equipment, and support from TRD, JGR, and all of the above, and our people.
Yep.
And having Jason on the box with Wheels and our engineers from last year and our garage crew, our road crew, led by Greg, car chief, we're solid. I would put our team up against anybody else in the garage.
No question.
And I think we've done a good job recruiting, and I think we've done it the right way.
I agree, and I think if you talk to any of our guys, we have such a great group of people. This again goes back to why did I come into my partnership with Bob and Sharon at LFR and working with you. It was the people.
Yeah,
there are a bunch of teams who are looking for financial assistance. It's about the people, and we're surrounded by such great.
It's got to mesh, right? It's got to be
at the shop, in the front office, our sales team, the guys at the track, top to bottom. It's a great group of people. Spending time at the track, which I don't get to do as much as everybody else does because of where I'm out of, is such an enjoyable thing. Of course, you want to finish well, but at the end of the day, I just enjoy spending time with this group.
I know we were talking internally the other day at the office, and I think we take for granted that family's in our race team name, right? So it's Leavine Family Racing. There's family from Leavine that works in the race team, but it's also the family to me. It's not only that, but it's how we treat our employees and how we treat our partners and sponsors, right? They're all part of the family. And that's the part that I think builds our culture. And I think what attracted you to our race team was you were an outsider coming in, and we made you feel welcome from day one, right? And we do that to our partners. We do that to all of our employees. And I always joke, if we're not bantering with you back and forth, you should be worried, right? Because then if you're on the outside of the banter, you're on the outside.
No question.
And I think you need thick skin to work in this sport, but I also at the same time I think this sport is built on relationships, and the stronger our relationships are with our employees and our partners, the stronger it'll be with everyone else around us, and and attract more talented people and more partners as we go and grow to the future. Mm-hmm. First race that you attended as a fan, not as a
Daytona 500
year.
07, 8.
Okay.
Thereabouts.
Did you watch before that?
Watched every year.
Okay.
I watched as a kid. I watched NASCAR religiously.
Days of Thunder or Talladega Nights?
Days of Thunder.
Of course.
Yeah.
Dano would say Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
But Dano's also 23 and a millennial.
Yeah. We're a little older than
24. Sorry.
We're a little older than that.
Dano's in the background there, producing this.
Correcting us.
Yeah. Favorite athlete of all time?
Michael Jordan.
2-3, huh?
Yes.
I learned this week is that he has a private golf course down south in Hobe Island, I think it's called, Florida. I saw Denny played there with Ricky Fowler and Michael Waltrip and MJ.
I did not know that.
Neither I wasn't invited.
I must have missed my invitation as well.
My net worth is a little less than that. It's invitation list. Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan versus one-on-one versus LeBron. Who wins?
Jordan.
No way.
Yeah. Why?
Because he doesn't have Pippen on the court. Needs Pippen.
Ooh. It's an interesting fact. I disagree.
All right.
I'll respectfully disagree.
Favorite TV show of all time?
Seinfeld.
It's funny because do you watch Curb Enthusiasm?
Not as much.
I had to watch the last episode twice. I was laughing so hard about it. And the
Seinfeld,
problem is,
close second, Office.
Office, all right.
And then growing up was Chips.
Chips. Oh.
Chips.
See, I'm a Hawaii 5-0
Chips.
Magnum PI guy.
It was Chips and Emergency.
Chips.
That's how I got, between my father being a firefighter growing up and...
So that's how you got into that.
That in Emergency is how I became a firefighter.
Kind of talk about your
your
life outside of CFO NASCAR, because you're also firefighter, EMT.
I've been a firefighter EMT for 22
car enthusiast.
years. Yeah, I got into it through my father. Into firefighting. My father was a volunteer firefighter when I was growing up. I remember like it was yesterday going to the firehouse with him and hanging out in the trucks and hanging out with the guys. And
was there Dalmatian there?
What's that?
Was there Dalmatian in the fire truck like there always is in the movies?
Dalmatian?
Yeah.
No, that's a little
far-fetched.
It's a stereotypical thing. It's not common, but
It should be.
When you start your own firehouse, you can get a Dalmatian. You can do whatever you'd like.
Can you start your? Is that possible to start your own firehouse like that?
That's at your own house, yeah, probably.
It'd be a German Shepherd, wouldn't be a Dalmatian.
I graduated college, started my first job, went through the fire academy basically for a year, 6 months to become an EMT, 6 months to be a firefighter while I was going to work, so it took extra time. And then I did it overnights, weekends for 22 years.
Recently retired, right?
Last year, recently retired, yeah. So I miss it. I miss it a lot. It's the same type of camaraderie and brotherhood as NASCAR is. But I also really enjoyed, the helping people and seeing the gratefulness on people's faces for the simplest of things. It was, there's a lot of tragedy, there's a lot of sadness, but the simplest of things that people are thankful for really kept me grounded. And
so you're a softie.
I miss it a lot. Yeah, I'm a softie at the end of the day. I really am.
Hard shell, soft on the inside.
Exactly. In Manhattan real estate, you got to have a little bit of a hard exterior, but yeah, I'll shed a tear here or two. Not in front of you, but
last time you cried?
Last time I cried?
Yeah.
When Dano asked me to do the podcast.
With me?
With you. Yeah, it's probably the last time I shed a tear.
So you're a big sports memorabilia collector.
I am.
What's the best piece? What's your favorite piece?
Jordan's rookie sneakers. I have his sneakers that he wore his rookie year.
Dano just mic dropped over there.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They cost more than your car. Your life. Yeah, actually, they cost more than Dano's life, he just said.
I also have...
Dano doesn't value his life very high.
And my second favorite athlete is Jeter, and I have Jeter's rookie cleats.
Rookie cleats also.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those.
Yeah.
Then
I've worn neither in case I anticipate the questions you're going to ask.
Just around the apartment?
I haven't. Yeah, just hanging out. I have not worn them.
Boxer shorts and Jeter's cleats walking around the apartment. It's a hell of
it's
little risky
not how I
business in
spend
the
my-
cleats. You can't slide. You could slide pretty well on the floor with the cleats on. I'm
Not-
sure.
not how I
Are
spend
they
my Saturdays.
metal spikes? They got to be metal spikes.
No, I never turned them over.
Really?
I didn't. No,
When you get back, look. I want to know if they're metal.
I will let you know.
I'm trying to think. You got anything to ask? You want to add anything? What's your level of excitement? Where are you at for the year on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm a 9. I am. I'm a big believer. Some people call me pessimistic. Some people call me cautiously. I call myself cautiously optimistic. This is the most excited I've been, and I get excited coming into every year. But I mean, the level of anticipation I have for this year, it's setting a new standard. But I think all of us have been very careful to manage our expectations. We have all the right equipment and we got the right guy in the seat, but anything can happen. Anything can happen on Sunday here, and we got 30 plus races beyond that. I'm hoping for the best. I think we have the right personnel and the right equipment to do it, but it's a progression. Our progression isn't from where we were last year to champion. There's a progression in between, and I think we will show really, really well this year. And I'm excited to show off what we're capable of.
Yeah.
And I said we've done it the right way. I think NASCAR should be proud of what this team has done inside its business model. And I think 9 months from now, when this thing wraps up, we're going to be very happy with where we ended up.
Yeah, I think the good and the bad of the sport is that no matter what happens on this Sunday, we get to do it again next weekend.
Yeah.
So it's kind of they all matter, but they're all independent races amongst themselves, right? Whereas the baseball, football, I mean, they play a game, but they play it the next night, and it's different, same team going against another team, right? Whereas we're racing 39 other cars, and all of the teams, there is no home team per se, right? We all go to the same track, and we race week in and week out for points and prize money, right? And I think at the end of the year, it all nets out with the best cars winning or going on to the championship four. And that's the part I like about the sport is no matter what happens on Sunday, you get to go back to the shop, regroup, learn from good and bad, and go on to the next weekend and apply it. And then apply that and apply that. And it's always, it just goes like this, right? And I think it's long. It's a long season.
Long season.
I always joke, my friends are like, oh, enjoy your off season, taking time off. I'm like, no, you're actually busier in the off season than you are during the season, right? Because you got to get ready, get amped up. And this was tough. This was another tough one for us because every year I feel like we've either changed a numbered font or we change manufacturer from Chevrolet to Toyota. This year we added Riemann as a sponsor, which is fantastic, having Riemann on board. Having Christopher, we changed drivers. So there's always something to do, change, add, edit, from the hauler to the website. And so that we have an endless checklist of things that have to be done. And like, oh, enjoy your off season. We'll see you. It must be nice having 2 months off. I'm like, well, it's not the NFL where you take 3 months off, or the front office jobs never get the time off. Right? They're always they're full-time jobs. The athletes are the ones that get the time off per se. But even then, I think our driver Christopher took no time off. He went to go race. He got married. He raced Thanksgiving. He raced Christmas. He raced. He traveled to New Zealand. Did Chili Bowl. So I think that's the part that excites me is we have a kid in our seat who really likes racing. If you ask him what he does for fun, he races. What does he watch on TV? He watches racing. He's a racer, and I think we have, you said it. I think we have a talented driver and the right person for our team at this moment in time in the seat to put us in the spot to be competitive and hopefully eventually win races.
Yeah, I agree.
Any last words?
No, thanks for helping me out with the podcast.
No problem, man.
I would have been very intimidated with Dano asking me questions.
It's
an
fine.
Intimidating guy, but
he is very intimidating.
He is. He may not come across that way when people see
his stature is very intimidating.
It is, and so I appreciate you
making 6'3", 6'2", 125 pounds.
Yeah, something like that. Don't go out in a stiff breeze. I appreciate you making me comfortable.
Hey.
And it's always a pleasure working with you and the guys, and I'm happy to be at the track, and I'm excited to see what Sunday shows.
Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this race team, and obviously we couldn't do it without you.
Yeah.
So thank you, and let's have a great year.